It's a ticket to Wonderland.
We're either in the Chinese market or not.
Metaverse is just more of a name, and it's all just like games.
Absolutely not a fan.
That's a big inspiration for me.
把中国开发者的游戏在全球发行。
Adapting to working remotely has been extremely difficult, especially as a much smaller company. I think it was very important for us to stay in the same room and the same office and build that team spirit.
So for us, because our volume is not that large, the pandemic was an issue in terms of the supply chain and things like that.
But certain things actually were a little bit better for us because I think our meetings were more organized than in the past. Everybody arrives on time.
I think it was hard at the beginning and then we got used to it and we learned to use all these new tools.
For publishers, show the game to the users through online events is actually something very new. We never tried before, but it's very friendly, user friendly. We're considering to make a virtual game event on our own. We can make it like we can use game engine to make a game that users interact with the game demos in the game. Because of the pandemic, we can have these new ideas. Yeah.
It looks like the mobile game market has benefited as a whole in terms of more users, more activity, more spending. And even as the pandemic sort of eases up, it doesn't look like that has slowed down in any way. So, which is very positive for us. We survived it, so coming back into the office has been great.
Now we are open and we are not afraid to say that we are having some difficulties, but we are really saying it to you, and with the communities we are, let's say, together find a way how to overcome those. So such a postmortems ones, transformations ones were really interesting for me.
The sheer size. We're either in the Chinese market or not. So, even if we're in there and we're facing some difficulties, that's still like anything that we do there is still better than not doing anything there. With new regulations, it probably will hurt the Chinese market in some way. And I heard from the talk that many medium-sized publishers will have to be looking outwards into the Western market to publish new games. Maybe some of them predict that more regulations will come.
That's not a problem for Chinese developer. If you make a good game, you can still sell it on Steam. The censorship issue is not a big worry. I think it only happens when you try to set up your own server for your online game and try to run your online game inside of China. Then the censorship could be a big problem.
You've probably heard of the word Metaverse. And for me, what it means, it is simply the merging of the physical and the digital worlds. So it's the technology, it's where we are right now with computing technology. And even more simply put, the metaverse, and there is only one, is the internet.
The metaverse exists already in a lot of different games, so it's just really, metaverse is just like this name to talk about a community playing together, and they're all like talking and hanging out together. So Roblox and Minecraft is probably like the first recent big metaverses out there. Similar to like Fortnite in a way can become a metaverse. Sandbox is kind of like the new Web3 metaverse that's coming out, very similar to Roblox. So there's going to be, the way that we kind of look at metaverse is just more of a name, and it's all just like games.
The most important ingredient in the metaverse is people. Because without people, what's the point? There's nothing to see, there's nothing to interact with. We need to make sure that we have people in the center of the conversation for whatever we're building in the metaverse. So when we're in Web3, let's invent new business models and new KPIs that keep people in the center. And then instead of like attention harvesting and I'm clicking on a button like a casino, let's do some other interaction over here in Web3 that actually, gives us, super ability to focus, enhances our ability to learn, creates a lot more feeling of closeness with our friends. And all of that is possible if we have those conversations now, before this next layer is built.
VR would be one of the major ways to access the metaverse, especially if you want to be fully immersed. VR is the way to go, so you can actually get that hand tracking and everything. But we don't think that immersion is is just for that, and we don't think that everybody wants to be fully immersed in virtual world 8 hours a day every day, right? But you can always appreciate your desktop experience or your office experience or even your gaming experience on a much more immersive platform than what we have today with curved monitors and flat monitors.
Maybe VR can be used for a team collaboration boost or something like this, that you feel that you are, for example, within the team, even if you are somewhere else, not in the game or product development, but in terms of collaboration. This is what I am doing, to invent, to find out some new ways how the people can feel the team spirit even if they are somewhere else.
I think it's a powerful tool, but it needs to be controlled in a way, because if not, we can start seeing a lot of sues from big companies to others. Like I remember a guy telling what happens if somebody makes an NFT where in Halo you're shooting Marios. So there you have a big issue between big companies because of random guy who wanted to create an NFT. You know, it's a early stage of it. Let's see how it grows, and it can be a really interesting tool, but not these days for me. For my point of view, it's too early to get it into the massive industry.
Absolutely not a fan of any of it. Trying to avoid it as much as I can. Going through the expo here, all the stuff that people are talking about you could do with NFT and all the blockchain stuff is stuff we're already doing. So you don't even need the blockchain to actually do all that sort of stuff. If anything, it just makes it more complicated and harder to actually. I'm not looking at that myself at the moment, especially not for like a small game like a Wordle or something like that. It's like, yes, put that on the blockchain. Not really something you need.
Well, I think there are several aspects. One is what cloud does to us as developers, what we can do as developers, how we restructure our process around cloud. And again, coming back to your first question about the pandemic, what has changed? So yeah, certainly we use cloud more. We store more in a cloud, we build machines in the cloud. So that is certainly helping. And it's easier because instead of us kind of going through a slow connection to our office, we can all kind of enjoy like white pipe going somewhere in the cloud. So that is happening. As to games, well, obviously it's a huge topic. There's all sorts of games that take advantage of cloud in very different ways. Multiplayer games that be it store content or they store game service in the cloud. So this is definitely something that is a huge area, and it's going to grow just because it is convenient. It provides with kind of unified way to access certain things and unified way to share experiences, right? To play together.
So we think that as we go further into the future, the compute power would go more to the clouds, and your experience of computers would be mostly around how do you see the virtual world. So it would be more about pixels and how many pixels are you getting and how do you get the depth and so on from the computer. And that's kind of the area that we're focused on. So I think that the cloud is the future eventually. Your gaming console may have some local memory or local processing power, but that will be very limited compared to what the cloud will be able to provide.
Future wave. There's a lot of talk about future wave, so I think that's gonna be coming into video games soon, because I know like lo-fi was a big thing during the pandemic, so maybe the future wave.
So a lot of other new genres will be taking two other things, merging them together in a way that no one had really thought about before. So I just went to the talk about Wordle, and that's a very, very simple game, but like no one had done it before. So, but takes inspiration from lots of other things.
I think the rest of the world will start to take a liking or play these games where they now can make money from playing, rather than, oh, I'm going to pay $50 for your console game, rather than, oh, I can play your console game and now I actually have a chance